Yo, Kanye West news, August 14th, 2018, dating all the way back to like last week, August 7th, I think, 6th. I was actually in Los Angeles, if you caught the last video, from the 8th through the 12th, and actually got to see Kanye appear on Jimmy Kimmel and the whole conversation. I was in the crowd. You can kind of see me at a couple points. I'm on the far left side of the crowd if you're seated on stage. And there's one shot of Kanye going to take his seat, and you can see me way far to the side in a white shirt with a black stripe across the front being like, Kanye, Kanye, woo! But it was cool being in the room, getting to see him. Travis and I just recorded a episode of the podcast that's the full story behind my being there, my trip to Los Angeles, my trip to the Yeezy offices, an unauthorized trip, mind you, but a trip there, and dropping off a copy of the Yeezus book, and getting to see Kanye at Jimmy Kimmel, and thoughts on that. So if you want the in-depth thoughts about that, check out the podcast episode that's dropping on Friday, which will also be on the YouTube channel come Friday, but also available on iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn, anywhere and everywhere. But we have a lot of Kanye news to catch up on, and we're going to avoid the tweets today, because if I did the tweets and the news, it would be, I don't know, 30 hours worth of material, and I don't think any of us want that. No. So let's run through the news that's gone on in this last week. First, we get, can Kanye West bring back XXL pants? And this is getting into the outfit that he wore to Jimmy Kimmel. And you can see, you get some big-ass pants, some cool-ass shoes and shirt. And they get into a little bit of the fashion sense as well, about what kind of sole you should wear when wearing baggy pants, which is something I have never considered, but I wear Marvel t-shirts, so I obviously haven't considered a lot when it comes to fashion. Next, we got, in 2018, Kanye West XTCY comes from producing, not rapping. And I appreciate the effort that Andre put into this article. It's a long one, and it makes a premise that Kanye is no longer interested in rapping, and that his rapping is no longer quality, that he's not caring about rhymes, and looks back through Ye's career and the history of his rapping and the history of his production, and that Kanye went from just a producer to being somebody that worked really hard on his rapping to viewing himself as more than a rapper and relying more on collaboration and distancing himself from the lyrical output, and that's shown over the last few albums, especially coming to Ye, where it makes the case that the lyrics aren't that great, culminating in this disregard of ecstasy, and saying it also means that it's time for him to listen to what Jay-Z... But if he's going to continue to sound like he did on Ye and Ecstasy, it also means that it's time for him to listen to what Jay-Z and others once told him way back and stick to the beats, with the solace that he had a hell of a run proving them wrong. And I just, once again, think that this comes from a misunderstanding, I guess, or a limitation of what hip-hop and rapping can be or should be, that people are looking at the individual lines and the rhyming of those lines, the structure of those lines, the catchiness or cleverness of an individual line or a run, like really on the micro level of what the lines are doing, and not on the macro, which Kanye, we discussed on the podcast, over the course of his discography, went from being focused on the micro to being focused on the macro. To where, like, yeah, maybe some of the lines on Ye aren't the most clever or the funniest or the sharpest, but what they do for the whole of it, and what they do with creating this character and this thematic development that goes across the entire album. How something like I Thought About Killing You sets up a structure for the album, and how the rest of the songs play into that concept that the first song introduces. There are things on the macro that Kanye does that only artists like Kendrick and maybe Tyler the Creator and a few others are really fucking with. And they're not doing it in the modernist, postmodern way that Kanye's doing. Kendrick does a bit more on Damn, but To Pimp a Butterfly is a much more traditional writing style in how he's approaching the topics and how he's really laying things out with some exaggeration, but a lot of realism, a lot of grounded in telling rather than showing, where Damn moves into showing rather than telling and gets at some meta postmodern aspects. But Kanye with Yeezus, with Life of Pablo, with Ye, is working on a postmodern level and a showing versus telling level that other artists aren't really doing. And I think articles like this miss out on that. And I think it's one thing to say that, you know, working on the micro might make for more popular music that is easier to digest and get hyped about. But I think it's working on the macro level, and ideally you're getting both, right? Micro attention to detail and macro development that makes things, I don't know, masterpieces, next level genius, all those things. I'm hoping that there's a day that we're talking about rap in that way, understanding that even though Kanye's not doing it in this micro scale anymore, he's doing it in a macro way that other people will be trying to get on that level. Some are approaching it, like Kendrick, but others are still far, far, far distant from it. So I think articles like this are missing the points of what art can be and should be and does. All right, moving on. Roger Daltrey from The Who. This headline seems a little bit of a bastardization of what he says. He calls Kanye West music kind of meaningless. If you look at what he said, when asked if he knew West's music, Daltrey told Rolling Stone, "I do because he did a big festival in England a few years ago," seemingly recalling West Glastonbury set in 2015. He continued, "It's kind of meaningless to me, to be honest with you. I like some of the rhythms of rap, but it hasn't gone anywhere from the first record that ever came out with those kinds of rhythms, has it?" And there you can kind of see that he transitions from Kanye to just rap as a whole. So I don't think he was necessarily saying, like, Kanye West is meaningless and other people have merit. He seems to just be taking a shit on rap as a whole. And he asked the question, has hip-hop evolved? I don't think it has at all. Which seems so dumb to me, because he's saying that the rhythms are kind of the same. And I feel like people can make the argument about rock and roll. Like, it's still just a guitar doing the same rhythms. Or the song structure is still verse, chorus, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus. That's how 99% of rock songs are. It just seems petty, like an old man yelling at clouds kind of thing, rather than somebody that actually understands the hip-hop genre. So, God, what a douche. He just looks like such an asshole. This is huge, actually. Kanye and Kid Cudi are going to perform as Kids See Ghost at Tyler the Creator's 2018 Camp Flog Gnaw. So they announced it earlier today that Camp Flog Gnaw 2018, November 10th and 11th, we're going to get Post Malone, Lauryn Hill, SZA, Kids See Ghost, Tyler the Creator, A$AP Rocky, Brockhampton, Jaden Smith, Earl Sweatshirt. That's a pretty fucking stellar lineup. Virgil Abloh? Pusha T? Huh. It's just missing DZ Brown. Just put DZ in there and it would be fucking awesome. So if you're going to go to this, please send us photos and let us know how it is. I'm hoping that we can go, but I have no idea. This is really cool. The Source reporting Kanye West freestyle from 2000 surfaces, and it's Andrew Barber from Fake Shore Drive. Unreleased Kanye West freestyle, September 22nd, 2000. Live from Kanye's home studio on 95th and Longwood. It's pretty awesome. It's about a minute long. Kanye has some cool raps. Classic Kanye bars, including the Miracle Whip line. So definitely check that out. And then this is getting into some of the Kimmel stuff, and one of the big stories over the weekend. Kanye West wasn't stumped by Jimmy Kimmel's question about Trump, according to Kanye West. God, so many fucking ads. Wow, Washington Post. I really thought you're better than all these ads. So, as a lot of people know, I think if you're watching this, you've probably heard about this, but Kanye was talking about his love rather than hate while on Jimmy Kimmel, and Kimmel responded to that by saying, you know, that's a nice thought and a nice ideal, but when you look at this president, families are being torn apart. How do you reconcile the love and hate aspect, or love and not hate, when families are being torn apart? You have to look at the actions, and these actions aren't good. You so famously called out George Bush, saying he doesn't care about black people. What makes you think that Trump does? And Kanye paused for 4 seconds, no more, no less, but 4 seconds before Kimmel went to commercial. And the video isn't edited. I was in the audience and saw it. I saw it live, just like Steph Curry's wife. And it was that quick. And it didn't seem to me like Kanye was not answering. It seemed like he wanted to think about it, because Kimmel layered it in a way too, right? It wasn't just a straightforward question of, do you think Trump cares about people? It was, your concept of love and hate seems flawed because of this, which has the implicit question of how do you reconcile that, while getting into the contrast between what he said about Bush and what he's saying about Trump, having him think about why he said what he said about Bush and why he said what he said about Trump, while also being asked, does he think Trump cares about black people or anybody at all? There's a lot there, both explicit and implicit, for Kanye to answer. And this wouldn't be the first time that he's paused to answer a question. There's other interviews where you can find him kind of stopping to really think. And there's one interview where I think he actually stops and says, I'm thinking, because I know whatever I say, if I don't say it right, is going to be twisted by the media. So I'm thinking about my answer. And this was a case of that. He thought about his answer. Kimmel went to commercial. They never came back to it. And that was already a point that took up, in this 20-minute interview, the only thing people wanted to talk about. Kanye avoided the question. Kimmel stumps Kanye. So Kanye comes out with, I was on Jimmy Kimmel, we had a great time having a dialogue. I'm reading that I was stumped by a question. Let me clarify the clickbait. I wasn't stumped. I wasn't given a chance to answer the question. True. The question was so important, I took time to think, and then I was hit with a let's go to commercial break. That interview showed strong personalities with different opinions having a civil conversation. It's still crazy to me that in the 20 minutes of conversation, when Kanye said so much, talked about so much, that there were positives, other highlights, funny moments, thoughtful moments, talk about mental health, talk about slavery, not talk about slavery, talk about his TMZ appearance and the state of mind he had when he was there, and just his views on the world, his latest album. There's so much to go into, and all people want to talk about is that he took 4 seconds to think about a question, and how it wasn't that hard of a question, how he's avoiding the topic. Very annoying to me. I mean, he could have answered here. That would have been nice. But he also said the question was so important, I took time to think. He could be rationalizing that the question is so important that answering it on Twitter isn't appropriate. Or maybe setting up another interview to have an actual dialogue about it. Maybe he's trying to think how best to address what Kimmel brought up. I mean, does he actually owe us an answer? I think it's fine to want an answer. I think it's crazy to say that he's like a piece of shit because he didn't answer, or how dare him for not answering, to feel like we deserve something. I don't know. I get wanting it. I want to hear what he says, but at the same time, he'll tell us in time, or he won't. Somebody will ask something again, and maybe he'll have an answer for it. We'll hear something at some point, and I'm fine with that. Just like I'm waiting for How Not to Kill Yourself Part 2, or any of the other things Kanye has talked about and we're waiting on. He delivers, it seems, eventually at some point. But he definitely goes on his own time. President Trump thanks Kanye West after Kimmel show. He is willing to tell the truth. I fucking hate Trump. I love Trump. I still fucking hate Trump. I'm not there yet with the love over hate. I'm going to do my best, though. Thank you to Kanye West and the fact that he's willing to tell the truth. One new and great fact: African-American unemployment is the lowest ever recorded in the history of our country. So honored by this. Thank you, Kanye, for your support. It is making a big difference. So positive response from Trump. G-eazy urges Kanye West to answer Jimmy Kimmel's Trump question. I just included this because it cracked me up. Like, that's the headline, and it's literally just G-eazy saying, we're all still waiting on your answer. The floor is yours. And yet it involves 7 paragraphs. Yeah. Teyana Taylor was in the latest issue of Playboy, and she talks a little bit about Kanye, and most of it's just this paragraph here, which you can probably read in this interim, where she's just praising that working with Kanye is working with somebody that understands creatives and the creative process. If you want the full interview, the link will be down below. I love this picture, though. Like, just that the hair's in motion, that her face is covered in the photo, the placement, the clarity of it. It's a beautiful fucking photo. And I love that she even gets a picture standing in front of Frieza's spaceship, and that she's a member of the Frieza clan. That's my headcanon now. All right, a little bit more. A little bit more. Dave Grohl's Many Wonderful... Oh, yeah. This is just getting into more of the awkward family dinners and getting into the Ecstasy song that Kanye released. I don't know why I included this, so we're actually going to move on to the better Ecstasy article that comes up. Somebody mashed together Meryl Streep's Miranda Priestly from The Devil Wears Prada and Kanye West answering Jimmy Kimmel questions. So if you want to watch this... I'll link to it down in the info. It's pretty good. I'm hoping that we get a lot of other of these, and people just start mashing up other movies, other things like Kanye and Daniel Plainview, Kanye and Akira, Kanye and Groundhog Day. Make them all. Kanye and Fight Club, Kanye and The Lion King, Kanye and Jurassic Park. I want to see all these things. Kanye and Avengers Infinity War. Give me that. Kanye and Batman vs. Superman. Kim Kardashian shows a photo of Kanye getting a kiss from North. Just been a nice family time. More pictures from this V2 butter colorway. We have the infamous Kim Kardashian photo laying in bed that's been memed like crazy. If you want to see the rest of the photos from this series, click here. And also you can check out Team Kanye Daily's Twitter account. They have all the photos. Kanye West canceled a carpool karaoke appearance last minute, costing the Late Late Show $45,000. So Kris Jenner was on James Corden's show, and they were doing Spill Your Guts. And at one point she mentioned or asked Corden why he had to add Kanye on. And he shared that Kanye was supposed to come on twice and canceled both times. And he canceled once as I was turning the corner to his house. I was in a car, and by the time the call finished, I was sat outside his house, and they were like, he's not in the zone for it right now. We'll do it another time. Ouch. And that would have been epic. And it cost $45,000. We all lost. We all lost out on something that would have been amazing. Travis Scott, Kanye West, and French Montana party with Kylie Jenner. If you just want to see some of the photos from Kylie's 21st birthday party, including Kanye just tongue out, having a good time, this link will have all of those. Kanye West offered deal to direct a porn movie after revealing he still looks at adult entertainment despite fatherhood. The creator of Blacked.com, which Kanye said is one of his favorites, offered Kanye a chance to shoot his own racy video. And I according to this, he even offered up two popular porn stars, Tory Black and Kendra Sutherland, as being in the cast. I've always wanted to see Kanye getting into filmmaking. If this is what does it, then this is what does it. I'll take a Kanye directed porno. I love this. Seth Rogen says Kanye West used to follow him around at the gym and quote his movies. And there's a lot of preamble for this, talking about Green Hornet and getting into shape and how out of shape his in shape was. And it amounts to several times he would show up early, and he's a big fan of our movies. They had the same trainer. And he would literally follow me around as I worked out and quote my own movie scenes to me, which is so weird. He's just like, "So McLovin, that's a funny joke." I'm like, "Yeah, man, I don't know what to tell you." Pretty good. This is another... Seth Rogen's had multiple stories of his run-ins with Kanye over the years. And I really need to make like a super cut at some point of all the Seth Rogen Kanye stories. Okay, here. So Hollywood Life has this whole 3-minute and 10-second clip dedicated to Kardashian updates. And one of those updates, according to sources, if we want to take this as according to sources and being truthful, which it may not be, it may be, but it's a good way of any as talking about ecstasy. One, that Kim was okay with Kanye talking about porn on the Kimmel show, saying that Kanye always tells her how sexy she is and how attracted to her he is, and it doesn't bother her. And the next being about the line from Ecstasy, which was, I'm going to have to go here. You got sick thoughts, I got more of them. You got a sister-in-law you would smash, I got 4 of them. And she reports that they're hearing that all the sisters are okay with it. They understand where Kanye's coming from, what he does with his music. Kim's okay with it. She knows the intent behind his music. And that's that. And I think an insider perspective, which who am I to assume an insider perspective, but we know how thematic Kanye's music is, and we know that Ecstasy was supposed to be one of the first 3 songs on Ye. Ye is an album that's divided into 2 parts. The dark part that shows the mania of being bipolar. And Kanye revealed on Jimmy Kimmel that his bipolarism shows up in only mania, right? It's just the high. That some bipolar people do the range high and low, others just do low, that he's somebody that just does the highs, which is what we saw at the TMZ interview, him in that ramped up state and how he acts in that state. So the album kind of divides itself between him in that high state and him coming down and getting more control over himself again in the wake of that. And in that high mania, all the dark thoughts come out. But then those dark thoughts lead to the beauty and the beautiful, which is the latter half of the album. So that opening song, I Thought About Killing You, really embodies what the album's doing. And Ecstasy was supposed to be the second track. Second, third, it would have been in place of Yikes, All Mine. And we know that those 2 songs on the album serve to demonstrate the mania and ego and ramped up state of being and the crazy kinds of thoughts that come out during that time. With that in mind, these lyrics just make sense in terms of like, oh yeah, this is what somebody that's in this ramped up, egotistical, highly sexualized state would say. That's kind of not something that a normal person would say, or that he would say in his right state of mind, because those are his sisters-in-law. They're not women he's going to smash or wants to smash or dreams about smashing. But when you're, in that state of mind that he gets in, these are the kind of things that he says. This would be that yikes kind of thought. And all that poopity scoop comes into it. We get those lyrics that show that this is absurd in a way, crazed in a way. But ultimately, Kanye went instead with Yikes and All Mine rather than this with ecstasy. He cut ecstasy. And this article from High Snobiety just collates a lot of tweets. I don't know if I'm using collates right there, but gathers a lot of tweets from the good to the not good, to I hadn't thought about Travis Scott reacting to Kanye being like, I want to smash my sister-in-law, which is his baby mama. And to people thinking that, yeah, ecstasy is a mess and that's the point. That's why it's good. Ecstasy is encapsulated madness. So some people get it. Some people get it. And that does it. That's the quickest run through I can possibly do of the Kanye West news. Thanks for joining me through it all. And tomorrow we'll get into Kanye's Twitter and some of the more recent updates. Thanks for watching. If you can subscribe, we're on that slow march to 1,000 subscribers so we can monetize this shit. We're at 629 currently, I do believe, or 630. So every subscriber counts. Thank you very much, and catch you tomorrow.